Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to jump into another deep dive today?
Always ready to explore something new. What have you got for us today?
Well, today I thought we could take a closer look at how to squeeze more profit out of your business. And not by raising prices or anything like
No,
that.
no, no, we're not about those tactics.
No, not at all. This is all about focusing on your existing customers, the ones who already know and love what you do.
The gold mine in your backyard.
Exactly. And to help us understand this better, we're going to be drawing from this really interesting podcast I came across called Profit Power. They had some pretty amazing real-world examples of how businesses have really, supercharged their growth by doing this.
I'm always up for learning from success stories. What did they have to say?
Well, they're talking a lot about these two strategies, upselling and cross-selling. I'm sure you've heard these terms before.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they get thrown around all the time in the business world. But to be honest, I think sometimes people get a little confused about what they actually mean in practice.
Right. Like, is it just about being pushy and trying to sell people more stuff?
Yeah, that's definitely not what it's about. Let's try to clear things up. Imagine you're at a fast food joint. The classic example, they ask, do you want to supersize that? That's upselling, getting you to buy a bigger version of what you already want.
Okay, I get that. So what about cross-selling? How is that different?
Think about it this way. They also ask, would you like fries with that? They're offering you something that complements what you're already getting. It's about increasing the overall value of the purchase for the customer.
Okay, so both upselling and cross-selling are about adding value, not just pushing more products. That makes sense.
Exactly. And you know, what I think is really important to understand is that it's not just about squeezing more dollars out of your customers, it's also about making them happier.
Oh, absolutely. The podcast really emphasized that. When you offer customers things that genuinely enhance their experience, you're actually building a stronger relationship with them.
You're showing them that you understand their needs and that you're going above and beyond to help them get the most out of what you offer.
And let's be honest, keeping those existing customers happy is way cheaper than constantly trying to find new ones.
100%. You know, acquiring new customers can be incredibly expensive. When you focus on maximizing the value you get from your existing customers, you're really leveraging your resources in the smartest way possible.
Right. And speaking of smart, they had this fascinating story about an online electronics store, the kind that sells phones and stuff.
Yeah, I think I know the type.
So they were trying to figure out how to get people to, spend a little bit more on each order. Not a ton, just a little boost.
Makes sense. So what do they do?
Well, they started offering these little extras like phone cases, screen protectors, and extended warranties. Things that people often need but might forget to buy.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
So did it work?
You bet it did. They saw their average order value jump up by like 15%.
Wow. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and the cool thing is their customer satisfaction scores went up too because, people were actually getting what they needed all in one place.
So it really is those seemingly small suggestions that can make a huge difference.
Huge difference. So I know our listeners are probably thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually do this in my own business?
Right, right. It's all about the practical steps.
Well, the Profit Power folks had some really great advice on that. Like, first off, you got to know your products inside and out. What works well together? What solves your customers' biggest problems?
Because if you don't know that, how can you possibly suggest the right things to your customers, right?
Exactly. And then they were talking a lot about training your team, making sure everyone's on board with this idea of being helpful, not pushy.
Yes. Your team needs to be able to explain the benefits of the extra products or services clearly and answer any questions the customer might have.
Yeah, like they need to be problem solvers, not just salespeople. That's
Yeah.
what really builds trust.
Absolutely. No one wants to feel like they're being tricked into buying something they don't need.
And then they also talked about using data to your advantage, looking at your sales data to see what people tend to buy together, and then using that information to make smarter suggestions.
Yes. That's where the real insights come in. Like, if you notice that people who buy a certain type of shoe also tend to buy special insoles.
Oh, that's a great example.
Yeah. You can use that information to create a little bundle or offer a discount when they buy those items together. Make it easy for them.
And all of this comes back to timing, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't offer someone a winter coat when they're shopping for swimwear.
Uh, no, you wouldn't. It's about understanding the customer journey and anticipating their needs at each stage.
Yeah, like if someone's buying a camera, maybe you offer them a memory card or an extra battery at checkout. Makes perfect sense.
See, you're getting it. It's really not rocket science.
It's about being helpful and anticipating needs.
And I think the big takeaway here is that upselling and cross-selling should always be about adding value, not just increasing your profits.
Right, because when your customers feel valued, they're more likely to come back for more. And that's what builds a sustainable business.
Exactly. It's about creating those win-win situations where everyone benefits.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge. Think about your own business. What's one small change you could make today to start implementing these ideas?
Yeah, maybe it's adding a frequently bought together section to your website or training your staff to ask better questions during the sales process.
It doesn't have to be a huge overhaul,
Yeah.
just one small step in the right direction.
And you know what? If you try something out and it works, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, let us know what strategies you're using to build stronger relationships with your customers and boost those profits. Until next time.
See you then.